feels so weird.
We're separated, but we each have our own table. Sit over here with me.
Well, that feels better.
It's lopsided for filming, but it's better for filming.
Yeah.
Soul God.
Alright, if you guys want to handle introductions, tell these guys a little about what you guys do, why you do it.
My name is Chuck Huber. I like long walks on the beach.
Yeah.
Cuddling.
Yeah. At the same time?
Yes, long cuddling walks on the beach.
Those are grainy cuddles. All the sand. Yeah.
Maybe not. I'm a voice actor. I started in the roles of Android 17 and Garlic Jr. in Dragon Ball Z. And I played Hiei and YuYu Hakusho and Stein and Soul Eater and Hero and Shin and Kululu and Sergeant Frog and Kurugiri and My Hero Academia and Emperor Pilaf. I don't know.
And Dragon Ball things.
Dragon Ball, lots of stuff.
Dragon Ball, fill in the letter.
Creepy Dad? Oh,
Shout Tucker. Shout Tucker. A shout, Tucker shouts out.
shout. I'm yelling. I'm yelling right to
And
you. Who are you, Mike?
I'm Mike Mcfarland. I am a voice actor, director, adaptive script writer, jack of several trades, master of none of said trades.
You're a master of comedy. I'll give you that.
I am also Master Roshi.
Oh!
In all of the Dragon Ball stuff, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Kai, Dragon Ball here, Dragon Ball there. I was also in Attack on Titan, and I'm the voice director of that. I'm the voice of Kirstein, also known as Horseface. Hey, why the long face? Yeah. Let's see, Havoc and Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Tokyo Ghoul just aired on TV, so I'm in that. I'm the voice director. I'm also the voice of Amon Kotaro.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and approximately 200 to 300 other additional titles of the anime. I am
Doing it for a while.
Yeah. So is this Q&A? What are we
Yeah.
doing?
Well, to start out, I have a few questions for you. What made you want to get into directing voice acting? Because you tried to coach me into saying Gene's last name and it didn't go great for me.
Well, I had studied acting and directing collegiately, or in college, as it were, or in uni, at uni.
Scholastically.
Yeah.
From England.
If you're from the UK, you can go to uni. And I have worked on films, I've worked on plays, I've worked on a lot of different things. And when I started working with Funimation, it was just as a voice actor. And then at the time, there were only 3 directors, and one of them really didn't direct anyone. That was Barry Watson. You got to work with Barry, didn't you?
I remember Barry.
Barry, yeah. So it's mostly Christopher Sabat and Justin Cook who were doing the directing. But if one of them wanted to attend an event like this so they could hang out with you guys, or if they, got sick, or, let's say they wanted to go on vacation and not work. What? Not work?
Doesn't happen.
What? Yeah. Then they were they were out of luck. So they asked me, because they knew that I had said collegiate studied directing and things of sorts, to see if I would help them fill out and substitute. And that turned into, could you substitute more often for these people who have awkward times that can't be here when normal studio hours happen? I'm like, sure, I don't like sleep.
Yeah, you were the first night director.
I was the first night guy.
First night director.
And that turned into, we're going to open another room. You want to just do that? I'm like, as long as I can do all the other things still.
Right.
And they're like, okay. And so that's how that happened.
Yeah, in the beginning, Funimation was really rinky-dink. Like, they started with no money, and it really was like, this table is nicer than the table we had. Like, way nicer. We had like a music stand with a t-shirt taped around it.
Yeah, the t-shirt was to prevent, like, if you yelled anything, it would keep the reverberations off of it. Yeah.
It was very low budget.
Lo-fi.
And now it's not.
Hi-fi.
Now it's not.
HD.
That's right. And Mike is in the Premiere studio now, the big one.
I like to call it the big studio
It is the big studio.
because it has the most room. Not necessarily where big things happen. It's just it's larger, like square footage wise.
It is.
Yes.
So what's it like directing premium voice talent like Chuck Huber?
Chuck, I've had a lot of fun directing over the years.
What's the first thing you directed?
Probably some Dragon Ball
Probably
stuff.
Dragon Ball.
Either Dragon Ball or YuYu stuff. I immediately got along with Chuck. He, like myself, has a theatrical background, and he's also a amusing fellow and has a good sense of humor. So I quickly learned that I could tell Chuck, rather than just tell him that he's doing a wonderful job all the time, because he does, I could just tell him things like, you know, I guess that's okay, or,
I would do a take, and this is his reaction.
all right.
Marginal.
Yeah. And eventually it evolved into that where it would just be low voice and things like rolled around the rim and finally fell in the basket.
Just above terrible.
So it became a joke.
D minus. Just barely good enough to not bother doing again.
I don't want to kill myself, mostly.
I didn't outright hate it.
Oh, sounding a lot like my father.
Oh God! Oh!
Dad jokes are the best though.
Dad jokes are the best.
So what about typecasting? Do you ever feel like you get, kind of shoehorned in a box?
Well, you know, you can call it shoehorned and you can call it specialized. I mean, I definitely get a lot of, especially now, dad roles and scientist roles and
Yeah.
teacher roles. I also get a lot of crazy people.
Yeah, Chuck, with his vocal range and his ability and the way that he speaks, he does very well with, like, you know, intelligent professors, which can also lead into mad scientists.
Evil people.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
very tolerant dad.
Yes, that's okay.
Yeah. And things like that. I mean, we can always do monster voices and creatures and critters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there is, with most of the stuff that we do, it's more or less, I mean, it's stylized, but it's somewhat realistic sounding because it's not like, you know, like, I'm a rock and I have arms and legs. It's like, it's all people and or things that resemble people, humanoids of some sort, like, you know, like vampires and stuff like that. So it's all within the realm of like, that would sound like a person.
Yeah.
So,
It's a lot of sounding like yourself. A lot of times people think voice acting is about how many crazy voices you can do. And crazy voices are part of it. But the bulk of what you get casted to do is what you sound like normally.
yeah, because that's what we want to
Oh
do.
my God!
It's also what's easiest to act.
Yes.
So what was the first voice that you two mastered that was different than your regular speaking voice?
I don't know about master, but like the Roshi voice, that was one of the first ones that I was booked as. I booked the first ever job that Funimation recorded in Texas. Yeah. Because they've been recording, I know, right? Thanks. They've been recording folks up in Canada. And, yeah, so there's a lot of egg at the end of takes, in other words. That's not true.
Like hockey.
Kamehameha, eh? They had a round of auditions in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're like, we didn't know when we started this company that the Dallas-Fort Worth area is one of the top 3 places in the United States for commercial acting and industrial acting. And there's also a really good theater scene there. In fact, one of the theaters, Dallas Theater Center, won a Tony Award this year for, like, you know, and they don't hand those out to a lot of like non-Broadway, the other coast.
Right.
Yeah, things, and so that was pretty cool. But we have a strong acting community in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and so they decided to hear some folks, and I was one of several, couple of hundred folks that they heard right off the bat, and they hired me. First round.
And Roshi, that's a crazy voice.
Roshi,
He started
first
right
one.
off.
Yes.
Crazy voice.
Started with this!
Woo!
I thought it was awesome because it was when I went into audition, they were like, "Here, can you do this short blue alien?" I was like, "Heck yeah!" And I'm gonna push you into the dead zone. And they were like, "Perfect." so you don't get to do that on film usually.
No. Or if you do, it's because you're in a straight jacket.
Yes.
They're just going down the hallway showing all the crazy people getting to wherever they're going in the real scene.
So I didn't say this earlier, but mine's actually right. He's a local boy. Where are you from?
I'm from Temple, Texas. I was born in Texas City, which is the mainland from Galveston. And before I ever started school, I moved to this area. Well, not me by myself, because, you know, I'm not going to move anywhere from like 3. But my family moved and I went with them. And I went to Nettleton's pre-kindergarten. Does that still exist? I went to that. Everyone's looking at me like, no, so it's not anymore.
No.
And then I went to Jefferson Elementary. And I went to Meredith Elementary. And I went to Lamar Middle School. And then I went to Temple High School. And then for a couple of years I went to Temple Junior College, which I think is called something else now. And then I moved up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So all I've lived in my entire life is just slowly crawling north through Texas.
All right, I'm going to open up the floor for questions. Does anyone want to get the party started? All right. 1 sec.
So obviously you guys, you know, y'all have done a ton of Dragon Ball stuff. What would you say is the most rewarding experience you've had over the years doing so much? Obviously there's a ton, but what's the single thing that stands out in your mind?
Like acting in general or just Dragon Ball stuff?
Dragon Ball.
Just Dragon Ball stuff.
I don't know. You know, it's really weird to have done it and known how popular it was, but when then the movies came back and you get to like have your characters like come back to life, and then the world kind of really super exploded for Dragon Ball. It was like, oh wait, this is my career. So it's kind of
I've been doing this a long time.
I know, it just kind of it was kind of surprising how the popularity grew in the last like 5 years.
Yeah. Probably things like that. Probably like attending the past 2 movies, Resurrection of F and Battle of Gods, those premieres and things like that, and saying like, wow, the fan base that's built up since like, you know, 80s, 90s, you know, and people still dig the show, and they're ready to go see a feature film and all pretty HD and new animation and stuff like that.
I mean, probably the most rewarding part is meeting fans who have a particular, you know, like emotional interest that they've connected to Dragon Ball Z, and the only way they can express it is to give it to you, and so we have to receive it. Because like they watched it with their grandma or their mom before their mom died, and it was very special to them, or they got to see the movie before their brother passed away, or, you know, we get a lot of sort of people who come up who are really emotional about the property, and so we get to be the bearers of their joy or pain or whatever it is. That's probably the most meaningful.
Ditto.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions, just flag me down and make eye contact. All right, right there.
Awkward eye contact.
Yeah, only up.
Yeah, like this.
My question's for Chuck. How was it working with Lenny Bator on the abridged movie?
Oh, the YuYu Hakusho abridged? Yeah, that was awesome. And now they do DBZ abridged, and it's huge, and everybody loves it. Yeah, I think all the fan-made stuff is really interesting and a lot of fun.
All right, who's next?
Gotta raise it higher.
So I have a question about, do you have any notable experiences, say, overseas in Japan, with your fan base, like from more the original?
I got 2, if that's all right.
And the innovators, I guess, over there.
I haven't been to Japan. I haven't been to Japan. I've been to China. I haven't been to Japan. I've met some of the seiyuu, some of the voice actors. I don't think I've met like any of the animators or animation directors or anything like that. So just a tiny handful of the seiyuu who've bothered to, you know, have had the time and experience and whatever, and the will to come to the States or to come to Canada or to come to UK, somewhere where I was at the same time. And it's always been a cool experience. I think the last time of note that I recall was I was in Vancouver, probably like 2015, 2014, something like that. And I met the seiyuu for Armored Harleys in Attack on Titan.
Okay.
and I got to, through an interpreter, discuss the aspects of the show and the different characters and the different things that happen. And I also, just for my own like confirmation, got to confirm some of the pronunciations of things.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so you know, there seems to be a really vocal fan base of Americans that think that the lead girl character's name should be pronounced Mikasa, and it's Mikasa. And I confirmed that with the Seiyu, so there's no higher authority than the top 3 people on that show, so there you go. So that's been fun.
All right, I got 2 questions for you, but they both kind of tie into each other. How does it feel to be back in the Super Series?
When they told me Emperor Pilaf was coming back, and then I found out Android 17 was coming back, I was like, oh heck yeah!
Yeah, you're going to be in the Tournament of Power arc.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of Tournament of Power arc, how excited are y'all about actually doing the actual fighting scenes again for the Tournament of Power?
Fighting scenes are hard.
Yeah, well,
it's hard work.
It is hard work. I will say that, like, between just sounding like I'm fighting and actually fighting, the hard part's been drawn. Like, I don't have to punch people.
That's true.
Or fly.
Right.
But like recording all the really intense build-ups and power yells and things like that is a little wear and tear on the throat.
Yeah.
I kind of prefer, like, as far as my, I guess, 2 major characters in Dragon Ball, which would be Roshi and Yajirobe. I like just doing the silly quips and having something fun to do on the sidelines. And I'll let Shen and Chris do all the
next time on Dragon Ball Z.
It's the same day. It's not even like the same fight, it's the same day.
My son was 13 when we first started doing it, and I put in a VHS tape, it tells you how long ago it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's check this out, I'm doing this thing, you might like it. And he started watching
Good question,
it,
huh?
watching it, and after a while he turns to me and he goes, this fight is taking a really long time. Okay, you're not gonna like this show.
You're not the audience.
It's not for you.
Yeah, if plot A is this fight's taking a long time, this show is not for you.
So I have 2 questions for you as well.
Oh, there you are.
The first question is being, do you have any advice for any upcoming voice actors?
Advice for upcoming voice actors.
Well, I know Chuck and I are both from a background of theater. We've both trained in theater. I'm sure Chuck's taken a lot of the same things that I have. I've also taken voice and diction, taken improvisation, you know, all sorts of stuff.
Shakespeare, dancing.
Yeah, those things.
Bowling. I don't know why they give us that.
No, it's okay. But that is the solid foundation for all of the forms of acting. So like what Chuck was saying earlier, like, I can do all these different voices. Like, to be, like that's the same thing as saying an actor saying, I can wear all these different clothes. Like, it doesn't change where the acting is coming from.
Right.
So that part has to be a nice solid foundation. And so all the training in that is super important. I would say for the type of acting that we're talking about now with the voice acting, I think the improvisation study is super important, because you are asked to be in situations and be characters on the spot with no prior research and no prior anything except for life experience.
Right.
So like, you know, if there's an improvised scene, like, okay, Chuck, you are an angry farmer, and you're from
Cornwall plant.
and then I flip it on, like, you're an angry farmer from somewhere in the Northeast.
I ain't Cornwall plant.
So that's about how much time we have to prepare for, like, you know, he went that away characters from time to time.
I started, he said north, I queued up to Minnesota, and then I had to drive way east to Boston. All in my mind. But yeah, becoming a voice actor, you pretty much just have to be an actor. I mean, you can kind of craft your life around sort of hitting that magic bullseye of ending up working at Funimation, and there are, you know, mythical stories of people who fly from Hawaii and become voice actors at Funimation. It's true, it can happen, but in general, the reason I tell people to take classes is if you don't enjoy acting in class, if you don't enjoy the critique and the feedback and the practice and getting better, you are not going to like the booth. Probably one of the hardest things about the booth is that there's not as much pressure with like tons of crew and stuff around. It's just a director and an engineer, so that pressure's off. But what Mike said is that you're in there right now, and we need this from you right now. And if you can't do it right now, you're not the guy for us. You need to be able to turn it on today, not in an hour or two, right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the job is to do it well and do it quickly, and not like, you know, I'll get this over 15, 20 takes on every line of that.
Well,
that makes everyone hate you.
Yes, and you don't. And the other thing is that you want to make all your mistakes. Like if your real goal is I want to be a Funimation anime voice actor, you want to make all your mistakes before you ever get to the front doors of Funimation.
Yes, that's what school's for.
That's what school is for. Yeah, that's what practice is for.
Yeah, so have your successes and all of your failures. Fail, because you gotta fail.
Right. Also, $250,000 in unmarked bills in the trunk of Mike's car will also maybe give you an audition.
It might do something.
Kidding.
It might. He's not kidding. It might do something.